What is Amazon using Sidewalks to help your pets?
Good afternoon, Tony. You have a really interesting story about Amazon devices which are going to share Wi-Fi with the neighbors who are actually passing by. Could you be able to elaborate more on this topic?
Absolutely. So I read this today, and it really was interesting to me, but it's called Sidewalk. So starting on June 8th, Amazon is going to turn on a new feature with a lot of the Alexa-based platforms, so items like Echo or Ring. Now, what this will do is they're going to turn it on by default, and it's going to provide basically an extra bit of bandwidth for any of those devices. And it's typically within the white paper if any of your devices are kind of spreading away from a good Wi-Fi signal, any other device that can kind of share some of the bandwidth will. And what that'll do is items that are kind of moving away, or if you're worried about your Ring camera not getting enough bandwidth to be able to continue, the Sidewalk feature will help out. So Amazon has stated there's some benefits within this white paper, help to locate pets and valuables, help with security lighting, being able to run diagnostic tests, and help with configuration of any new devices that you're going to put on your network. Now, some people may question and say, well, what about bandwidth? If Sidewalk is going to use my Wi-Fi, really how much is it going to use? And the white paper also states that it's going to use about as much as 80 kbps. So basically, this is very little bandwidth, just a few moments of a high-def video stream is about the amount of bandwidth that it'll use. They also state that they're going to cap the monthly bandwidth to 500 megabits. What this is basically 10 minutes of high-def video streaming. So it's not that much bandwidth. They've got some solid numbers with this. It's not going to degrade any of your services, but what it's going to do with any of your Alexa-based devices is be able to help out and spread this net of bandwidth across not only your network, but other areas. It is running under Bluetooth, and that's how the network sharing is going to occur. Now, with that, they also have documentation on how to remove any of your devices, and some of the devices that they're stating are the Amazon Echoes, Rings. I personally have one dot at home that I was testing. I brought everything up, I put it on my network, and it does not have the Sidewalk feature. So it's only items that have the Sidewalk bridge, and those are more of the more robust, newer items versus some of the older Gen 1, Gen 2 dots. And it's very easy to turn it off. There's actually 4 steps within your Alexa app to go in and shut those off. In addition to that, if you did want to shut that off, going to Amazon and literally going to their help page and just typing in Sidewalk will bring up the white paper, will bring up the instructions on how to enable it, disable it. They're not hiding it. What they're doing is they're turning it on by default, and if you want to turn it off, it's 4 steps. That's very simple. So I think from Amazon's standpoint, and I'm not speaking for Amazon, but I think this is a feature that if you are into developing your smart home, this is a good feature. If you do not want to expand your smart home, this is a feature you likely want to shut off. But the white paper states a lot of the information, way more than I've gone through. It's got an FAQ. Definitely something to check out if you've got Ring or Alexa-based devices within your home, just to make sure you understand exactly what it's doing. this is, this is information. It's out there and it's free. Now, from the articles that I read, the initial articles before I dived into the white paper, the security researchers, first off, they have not said that there was any exploits. That has not come up. But if you are security concerned, some of the things that they brought out isn't about Sidewalk, isn't about Amazon, but it's about previous wireless Wi-Fi security features, WEP, WAP, how Bluetooth has had issues in the past. So basically the protocols and some of the encryptions within Wi-Fi, they had stated, there's problems with those in the past. They never stated there was problems with Sidewalk now, but since it is a wireless-based communication, they did say that, you never know. Security research, once this is fully turned on in June 8th, they'll be able to test it then. But until then, this is just an informational article. I found it extremely interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be something that there potentially could be a lot of people that are going to have a problem with it. Just because we've seen in the past, not just with this topic, but many other sort of topics of either information sharing or in this case, bandwidth sharing. The concern is always from a security perspective, and and there are a lot of people out there that will look at this and say that like I don't trust what's happening there because I can't see it. Meaning, I have no idea what my bandwidth is actually being used for, right? And when they hear about your bandwidth helping out your neighbors, and I realize that everybody's supposed to be neighborly, but I just see that as being something that people will look on and say, well, what does that mean? Am I going to be sharing something with my neighbors? Is my neighbor going to be able to see something that, that I'm doing? It's going to, and unfortunately, most people are not going to pick up that white paper and start reading through the white paper to understand the technical details behind it. They're just going to see Sidewalk allows you, gives people the opportunity to, whatever, right? So that's the, and then other people are going to be complaining about like, well, okay, so you're going to be using some of my bandwidth. Are you lowering the price of Amazon? Are you cutting me a check every month to pay for the, for the bandwidth that you're using from my, from my internet provider, right? So, I realize I'm kind of looking at all the negative sides, but I think I'm trying to like look at this and try to figure out like, because that's when I heard this story this morning, that's the first thing that I thought of, right? From a security perspective, I'm sure everybody here that looked at this story, that's the first thing that we all think of. What's the security implications of this? What's actually happening on that? And I'm sure there'll be many security researchers now that it's kind of out in the open that will start to like test this. And I'm sure over the next couple of weeks, there will be some papers and put out by external parties looking at what is actually, what this is actually doing. What does it actually mean? How much is using? What's actually seen? What can you see in the traffic that's, that's the bandwidth that's actually being shared? So, I think those will all be concerns. The other aspect, and I think, Tony, you said you were playing around with it this morning. I did as well. And perhaps it's because the devices that I have in my house are not of the latest, although I do have some 4K Amazon devices in my house, which I would think that are of at least the later, technologies. My Alexa app does not have the option for Sidewalk. So it doesn't even come up in my phone as an option to turn on and off. So does that mean that if it's not showing up as an option for me, that means that I don't have a device that's compatible with Sidewalk? I don't know.
Yeah, you raised some really good points. I mean, we on this discussion are security professionals. So we always have to question security no matter what. Whether we think that this platform that we work on every day is the best thing since sliced bread, you still need to, from a security perspective, question it. And I think, a lot of the researchers will. I think that they should. Everyone should be security conscious. There's numerous conversations we've had on ThreatTraq where it always comes down to you as the user of technology should be security conscious. Just look at it, make sure. To your other point, not a lot of people, you're right, are going to look at it. They're not going to look at the white paper. Some may freak out, some may go, and that's just the way of things. To your Alexa point, the one thing that I didn't mention that I was thinking about is maybe it's not on my Alexa app because it's not June 8th yet. Maybe there'll be an app update, and then that gives you the feature because right now they haven't turned it on. So, maybe more to come. We are filming this on June 1st. We've got 7 days, so maybe things will change by then.
I agree with you on the June 8th theory, Tony. Basically, I wanted to say that one. But other than that, because we are sharing the Wi-Fi, it provides another springboard for some of the bad activity could happen, right? Now, some of the users may secure their home network so tightly as possible. Because of the Sidewalk feature, basically they're poking a hole into their perimeter. So in other words, it provides another opportunity for an attacker if they want to leverage and maybe gain access into a somewhat secure network. Though they said on the article, I think they're using 3 layers of encryption and some of the data anonymized and it resides for 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not sure about the time, but still, it's surprising with the 3 layers of encryption that the amount of data you will be sharing is very minimal. So that's kind of up in the air. I think more research, maybe more thorough research needs to be done to understand what are the implications.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when it comes down to this, we got 7 days. I think time will tell. Maybe we'll have more conversations about Sidewalk in the future on ThreatTraq. Who knows?
Yeah, and like you said, there's obviously some features in there. I mean, people want to be able to find their pets stuff, so and find all their lost stuff, and there clearly is some good use cases there. And I guess we just all hope that they've implemented it in a secure way, right? That is the worst thing that that from a con perspective will be that you have a very, very small portion of your bandwidth that is used up to provide this service. So like you said, time will tell. I'm sure that we will do a follow-up story on this once people have had time to really dig into it.